joining us today. My name is Gina Angelini. I'm a Workforce Management Coordinator at Generation Schools Network.
Hi, my name is Amanda Hawley. I'm the Pathways Coordinator at Generation Schools Network.
And we are here today touring the facility of Midwest Bus Sales. We're here today with Chris. Chris, can you introduce yourself for us?
I'm Chris Wolf, I'm the General Manager here at Midwest Bus Sales.
So what can we expect on the tour today?
Well, we're going to go through some school buses. I can show you guys the facility. We have a sales department, we have a parts department, and we also have a service department that helps repair the buses for the school.
Sounds perfect. Thank you.
Well, shall we start?
Absolutely. Come on in, we'll give you guys a tour of the bus. You guys come in, and they all have the dash up there where you can all the stop arms, the flashing lights, different cameras in the bus, the steering wheel, the shifter, the seat adjustments. There's actually a lot of components up there. And then obviously in the back, one of the interesting things that I learned when I first started here is that every school bus, when it's purchased brand new, has 44,000 options to choose from. So every school bus that we get into today, if you guys want to look at a few, is going to look really different, from the color of the seats to how many seat belts they have, to where the seat belts are, to how the tracks are on the floor. We have a really diverse, let's say, terrain here in Colorado.
Okay, great. So,
Absolutely. Usually take anywhere from 2 to 3 full weeks of meetings to sit down with people. Overall, it'll take about 8 hours to really build a bus with them, because there's different decisions on these, like even these cameras right here. Some schools like them a little further back, some want them closer, some want some facing the stairs, some want some facing forward, some like to have the back of this one. The seating systems are different because some schools have different needs. We also have school buses that have chair lifts and special needs students with lift needs, and then how many they have, the tenors, wheelchairs that they have. There's different strapping systems to secure the kids into the bus. So we'll secure the chair, the drivers will secure the child's chair, and they also get like a lap restraining them. So there's a lot of different what they call tracking systems on the floors, so that they can remove seats, or they can move them around if the district just needs to get an extra couple of feet for that special needs.
Wow, the ability to pretty much tailor it to
what kinds of things are different here in Colorado, knowing that we have various kinds of weather?
So it's the weather. If you think of like a ceiling fan and how it spins, when they put it's like 68, almost like a chain rope at the end of it, and as it spins, it's going to cancel. So a lot of them, what we'll do is instead of ordering that certain ones will go on dirt roads, these buses are called C2. The flat noses are HDX. Those have an engine in the back, and a stronger engine that can push the bus up the hill. So a lot of the districts like those. And in certain downtown areas, those have a better wheelbase. So it's easier, like in a city area, to have a flat nose like that. So you'll see those a lot in California, New York, downtown Denver, because they can get around turns quick. These buses are a lot harder. They take those turns a lot longer.
Could you talk a little bit about how you kind of got into this industry, your journey into doing what you do here at Midwest Bus Sales?
Sure. So a couple of years after college, I started with Enterprise Rent-A-Car Management Training Program. I stayed with them for about 12 years, worked my way up into their corporate office, and then when I left them, I went on to a different travel company. It's called Cruise America. They rent out for worked with them for about 3 years, and then when I was looking around, I wanted a better quality of life. And the big challenge with fleet transportation and rental business is that it's all retail. You have to keep retail hours. You work nights, you work weekends, you work holidays. I just wanted a better quality of life. I have 2 kids. I want to spend more time with them. So for me, when I went out and looked for the job, I found Midwest Bus Sales. The cool part about this part is that all the schools keep lower hours. we're open Monday to Friday, 7 to 4, so I don't have to work nights, I don't have to work weekends. Midwest is called the Kincaid Group of companies, and the Kincaid Group is a faith-based organization, so they're also big into holidays. So they want to make sure that we have good work-life balance, that we have a lot of holiday time, so I can earn a lot more holidays with this company, get a lot more time off, and I don't have to work nights and weekends. So for me, it was perfect. I was like, you know what, the same amount of pay, I took that lateral jump, and I came over here and got much better.
Awesome. I love that. I love that.
What is your day-to-day role like?
It's always different. We sell buses. That's our primary focus. We sell school buses to districts. And then subsequently, we sell them the parts to repair them, and then we will bring them from service to our service department and get them fixed. So for me, it can be any one of those roles. If there's a lot of parts going on, I'm going to jump on the parts. If we have a whole bunch of buses that need to get fixed, I'm going to help Chess get those prepared for our mechanics and get them done through the service department. Or a day like today, where I was a salesman, I just had to go down and speak to 20 transportation directors about the UV buses, potential, why people want them, why people like them, what problems people are having, different challenges like that. So my role here has become EVs. It's really different. It's really getting into that. There's a lot of brand to offering to districts. EV tech is a little more expensive than diesel bus. It's about 3 times more expensive. So the state essentially gives these districts grants. If you have an older bus that's over 10 years and it has poor emissions, they'll pay you 2 times the bus, right? So to get an EV bus down to the price of what a diesel bus would cost, so that you'll go destroy that diesel bus with their emissions. So that's what the state's offering. So a lot of my job now is just trying to answer these questions, calm their fears, because everyone's scared of new technology. Really just discuss a lot of new buses.
How does that work with bus drivers? The difference of switching to an EV bus?
Yeah, I mean, for the drivers, the biggest thing is that right now most buses are diesel. They have what's called DEF, it's a diesel emission fluid, so it helps the emission system have a cleaner emission. So they have to fill diesel. They have to fill it pretty much every year. No longer. So the biggest difference is that with EV buses, they pull up next to the charger, and then it's on the bottom where that like DOT stickers are, and then they put in essentially what everybody would know is like an iPhone. Yeah, it's like a big plug that goes into the side of the bus to charge it. So the major difference is just that. With EV buses versus a gas bus or a diesel bus, they don't have as much service. They don't have as much, obviously there's no emissions to them, so they're much quieter. And that's the feedback that we get, that the drivers and the students like them. So if the EV bus goes down, they actually get upset because they have a dirty, smelly, loud bus. So a lot of students love the EV bus. It's quite right. They're actually a little quicker as far as the pickup. So what we tell drivers with the buses, drive this bus like you have an eggshell in the gas tank. Or with the diesel bus, whether you have it halfway down or all the way down, it really doesn't move very fast. So it's a little bit different. It takes some time to get used to. Take the drivers out, obviously, those students who are presenting them. And most districts here are a little bigger. They may have, let's say, 15 for on sale. They'll usually assign 3 to 5 drivers or however many buses they have to buses. So they'll say, all right, you 3, we're going to train you on these buses. Those are your buses. So if you call up for today, we're going to use a different bus for this route. We're going to need buses. So they all kind of take one bus. But as far as the actual bus itself, it switches the control center. This has done a great job in manufacturing it so that it sort of just carries over. There's a few little minor differences, like the gear shifter on the EV is push button, where this gear shifter is just a regular shift. The parking brakes here is more of a, you can see a big yellow triangle square. It's a square. On the EV bus, it's like switches. So there's some minor like switches that look different, but by and large, the bus itself has the same amount of seats, about 71 to 77. Same features, same option. Right now, we just do what I was saying is called the CPU, the one that has the hood in the front. This flat nose, we don't currently manufacture. So eventually. So there really aren't huge differences. It's just that there's less maintenance on them. There's no oil changes. That definitely, when you're talking to the industry, it's like the maintenance. able to tell the people that have that career more information.
Before we get over to some other departments, can you tell us why leadership is an important skill in a role as your own?
Sure. Leadership is huge. Whenever you're, leading a team, if they don't have direction, they don't know where to go, right? So someone was taught to me years ago, and they said, what's the difference between just a regular light bulb that's inside your office and a laser that can cut through metal, right? And the answer is focus, right? So when you take light beams and a light particle, like in a room, there's just millions of them floating around and they're creating light. When you focus them into one single beam, they can just cut through almost anything. So that's what leadership does. It just takes a whole room full of people that are standing there and focuses them into one specific focus, and it can help get a lot more done. When you have teamwork and people are working towards that one common goal.
That's a great analogy.
I love that.
Yeah.
One more question, actually, before we head off. What's your favorite part of your position?
All my other jobs were, I don't want to say thankless, but it was just customer service. You were there to just serve the customer. Now, there's just more to it. You know that you never meet the kids, right? I don't meet the 70 kids going to school every day, but you know that you're providing a really good service that helps people. It's helping kids get to school every day. And there's stuff that people don't see, right? Like when districts just are coming to us at the end of the summer, desperate to have 4 buses back on the road because they don't have enough buses. They're literally going to have to cancel routes and either have parents drive people to school or run double routes. Kids are just going to have to miss first period. Whatever they need to do to get those kids to school. But to be able to take them in, work with my team, give them some overtime and get those buses fixed and back on the road, it's just a little bit more gratifying to actually know that we're working towards something. There's like a purpose to what we're doing.
Thank you. Okay, shall we move on?
Yeah. Thank you guys for a grand tour of the facility.
So this is Eddie with Midwest Bus Sales. We would love to ask you a few questions about your position here.
Sure.
What is your role here?
Platforming.
Okay, what specifically does that mean? What is your day-to-day role like?
Making sure the guys working stuff out.
Yeah, and you're doing mechanics on the buses. And...
Making it safe for the kids.
Awesome, that's great. What was your journey like getting into this role?
I've been doing it for 30 years.
Oh wow! So over that time, over the 30 years, what are some highlights for you? What's your favorite part of the job?
Motor stuff. We're building motors.
That sounds like that might take a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience.
It does.
Yeah. Does it involve troubleshooting? And is that the part that you like the most?
No.
No?
No. Finding the problem. That's the one.
So what kinds of certifications or skills does it take to do a position like you have here?
Like AC certified. I'm AC certified. I have tons of certifications. So
How is integrity important in your position? Why would it be important to have integrity?
really don't know what that means, but
Just having what's important about your position? I'll reword it.
making sure the vehicle is safe for the kids to be on the road. That's it.
That sounds pretty purposeful and meaningful to me.
Get it done right. That keeps the kids safe.
Awesome. And one last thing, you're working in here, it looks like on the computer. Are you testing something out?
Yes, I'm running a pressure test on the DEF system.
Okay.
Once you do that after you replace the part, make sure you don't have no leaks.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's the emission system we discussed.
Gotcha. Understood. Well, thank you, Eddie. Thanks for talking with us today.
Yeah,
We
no
appreciate
problem.
it. Yeah, thanks for keeping the kids safe out there on the road.
Trying.
All right, we are here with Brian, who's a mechanic at Midwest Bus Sales. How you doing today, Brian?
All good.
Good. Can you give us an overview about what you do here at Midwest Bus Sales?
Yeah, so we just keep on maintaining and repairing all the school buses that we get in. all over the state practically. And you got a lot of different things that you possibly get in each given day. They're really very similar.
Understood. Can you give us maybe a brief description of what your day-to-day role looks like here? It's probably ever changing, I'm sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
ever changing, but yeah, I mean, earlier today I had a hose I needed to hook in and finish up on this cooling system on the bus, and then just clean up. And then this bus right here, I actually had to just go fish the wire all the way from those two hatches all the way up to the front here to make the alarm sound correctly on it. And so yeah, it really does vary. I don't really have any 2 days that are just like exactly the same.
Well, that's good. It's interesting. Huh?
Yes, it does get interesting, especially when you get the very strength of what problems that you gotta try to figure out what is going on.
I couldn't even imagine. Wow. What was your journey like getting here? Like, how did you end up here at Midwest Bus Sales?
Well, I started by, it's interesting getting into automotive in high school or so. So I went to ACC, Rathmo Community College, and got an automotive degree from there. After a while, somehow I ended up landing a job with TransDev, and I did work on city buses actually.
Oh, okay.
RTE buses, the contract. Worked with them for 15 years. So finally, it was time to leave there, and then just last March, I moved up here.
Nice. Good. Could you tell us a little bit about why integrity, being honest, and encompassing moral principles is important in a role like this?
Well, in a place like this, it's very important to have integrity. You gotta be honest with what's going on with that bus. Otherwise, you could have some very dangerous safety issues that may happen. So it's actually extremely important that you have your notes in correctly, that you have put in what you did correctly and all that, and then also just getting the job done correctly as well. So yeah, there's a lot of safety concerns with these buses. I mean, unless it's like I think a 60,000 or so, 40 to 60,000 pound vehicle. Very important that everything works right.
I would imagine, right? Could you tell us what your favorite part about this job is?
Probably more just the variety. The fact that you're not just like mundanely doing the same thing over and over again. There's certain other mechanic jobs you can get where that's all they do is wheel bearings every single day or whatever else. Here it's whatever they bring through the door. Because that really could be anything.
Keeps you on your toes, huh?
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Brian, for taking the time to talk with us today. We appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
You guys went inside and enjoy yourself.
Yep. Great. Thank you.
Right now, we don't actually have a sales rep. I go out on all the sales calls. We also have another sales GM who operates out of Kansas. So when we go to sell a bus, we go to districts, we discuss that there's a really long process. We have to go through and ask them just a laundry list of questions on what they would like and what their needs are for the bus. You guys would be surprised at how many bus schools do not put air conditioners in the back or in the front of the bus. So the buses are just warm, you open up the windows and you know what, you got the thing open and it's in the morning, so it's not really up. It's pretty cool. It's the afternoon when it gets pretty warm. So, but there's options from AC to the different seats we talked about, the different tracks, the different material the seats are done with, the color. There's different features with different engines on the bus. So one thing we didn't discuss is that there's diesel and gasoline. We also have what's called CNG, clean natural gas, propane buses. There's all these different buses that kind of for different purposes. So we just try to sit with them, find out what their best needs are, the best fit for their needs are, and then we kind of build a custom based on that. Most districts don't buy one bus at a time. They usually buy 5, 10, 15, 20 per year for about a 5-year contract. So you give me this type of bus on the first 5, next 5 you want this, or they're all the same. That's the next 4 or 5 years. the sales department. Not too much into it. Go out there, talk to them, have the bus. One thing I'm sure is relative to a lot of people's businesses right now, though, is part delays. So I'll introduce the parts department in a second, but that's also big with our sales department, is that we used to build buses in anywhere from 90 to 120 days. So about 3 to 4 months, if you ordered a bus, you have, right now, we're about 14 months. It's the worst it's ever been in the industry. There are 3 major builders of buses. There's us, which is Thomas, that's the Diamond Distribution. We have IC, which is the International Corporation. We have all 3 of them right now. We're operating at so about, I think International something about 11 or 12 months. We tell people about 12 to 13, we're telling people about 14 to 18 months. So the lead times are terrible. Part delays are terrible. It's tough to find drivers. It's tough to find mechanics. So that's our sales department. That's kind of the process that gets it all started. We sell the bus to someone. And then their biggest contact after that is our parts department. So right now we have Devin. Devin started in that position. I would say it's been about 3 weeks or so. We sent him out to Kansas to get some training to learn our business and how we operate. We just hired Christian here on Monday. So he's brand new to our organization here. He's our delivery driver, which is really pivotal role for what we do. All the districts locally they order so many parts. If you pay $100,000 for a bus, in the life of that, you're probably going to pay about another $100,000 in parts. Okay, so think about how many parts you have to order throughout that life. That's all going to debt and all those orders, and then they don't want to pay shipping on that because then you'd be paying another $20,000, $30,000 shipping. So we have to have a delivery driver here who can bring it out to the different districts. So when they order parts, it goes to Devin. When they need something, Christian brings it out to them. So with that, if you guys want to ask them some questions, by all means, they're all yours.
Welcome. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you. So starting with Devin, can you give us an overview of your department?
Yes, basically, just the school districts call us for parts for their buses, and I will look them up on a database we have for Thomas buses to be able to find the correct part number. Basically, quote them out the price, shipping, everything, get it ready, get it to come in, and we'll have Christian go out there and deliver it. That's basically the process of how it works in this little office here. It just comes in from the customer, I find it, give them the price, give them a quote on it, they want it, get it in, and Christian deliver.
Awesome.
That's pretty much the gist of the parts department.
So is that pretty much the day-to-day role? Or does
It
vary?
definitely is basically just contacting the customers, seeing what parts they need, get what they had already here, deliver it out to them, and then whenever UPS delivers, make sure it gets in their hands.
Nice. And what was your journey like getting into this role?
I come from a construction background, equipment rental. I come all the way through that in the parts world, been in parts for about 8 years now. So then I contacted Chris and he offered me a position to come here and help these guys get parts for them. That's how my transition came over here.
So why would communication skills be important?
Definitely communication is key here to get the right part, to be able to get the right serial number, VIN number off the bus to be able to find said part, where a part is located on the bus. Some guys don't even get the descriptions of where the part is or what it is. So it's just trying to get that communication through them to get them talking about more info on how to get said parts.
What is your favorite part of the job?
I'm just talking to people. I'm just people. I like talking to people every day. So just every day talking to people, new people, meet new faces, change the scenery every day. Do the same thing.
Definitely. That's awesome.
And Christian, right?
Yep.
Christian, what does your day-to-day look like?
My day-to-day is come in, talk to Devin. He's kind of like the main man. Figure out what he wants me to do today, like day-to-day. Like if it's cooler, he'll have me like help him out with like overflow stuff that we have, or just kind of like a little bit of organization. But most of the part, like eventually, it'll be delivering parts to customers around Colorado.
Great. And what was your journey like ending up here at US?
It's been delivery and like warehouse work for a couple years now, and just kind of trying to find like a good like built foundation company-wise to be able to build a better future for me, and that's what led me here.
And I'll ask you the same thing Gina asked Devin. Why is communication important in your role?
Communication is important because people need parts, and they'll talk to Devin, and then Devin will talk to me. And if I need to be able to be like solid to get that part to them, because it's solid, or it's like a certain part that needs to be on the vehicle to fix the vehicle to get it out. And if communication crumbles, then we can't get that bus running. They can't pick up kids or take them up to the slopes or whatever the bus is.
Got it. So yeah, extremely important.
Right.
And your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part of the job is kind of just like the people that I am meeting, as in this is my third day, but the people are really amazing. It feels like I'm going to have a very prosperous and long career with them, and it feels like every day I can just come in, everybody's all happy, and kind of just share a great day together, and it makes the day go by fast.
Yeah, it makes it easier to wake up and
Right,
get
exactly.
to work, right? Yep,
Exactly.
absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you guys for sharing with us. We appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
So the last thing would just be service. So the service department we operate right here. Chastity is our service advisor. Myself. We have security cameras up so we can just see what's going on at all times. We always like to say she's like a service coordinator because she's like a conductor, right? There's Eddie and there's Brian, and they might have their head down on the bus and it's hard to see the forest and the trees. And they might just be like, hey, I gotta get this done for whatever reason. Maybe there's a bus that is a real critical problem that is a quick, easy fix if we can get in and out for a district meeting, right? You know, Chas can determine, go outside, let them know, hey, pull this bus out, this is kind of a long-term fix. Let's get this one in. We get calls all the time from Aspen. We had one from Manzanar recently from these outlying districts. When they come into town on the weekend or if they have a gymnastics event, if there's a basketball game. Hey, we just got down here, the buses, check engine light came on or something. We don't normally offer a mobile service, but that's the situation where Eddie can run out to them and just see if you can check it really quick, or Chas can get on the phone with them and just, hey, pull one of them out, get that out of the bay, they'll come here, pull it in, while they're at the basketball game, we'll fix it for them, they'll go back and we're good to go. Because the truth of it is that things break constantly in school buses, so we constantly have to fix them. And that's the biggest thing. The school districts around here, they all have their own mechanics. So a lot of it is support. They're just calling us and saying, hey, I'm having this problem. What do you guys think it is? And it's questions. What do you look up to? Do you have this program? Yes. Sometimes we don't have answers for them. They just have to bring it in and do the troubleshooting on their phone. Eddie talked about a lot of times it's not that, or it's a tricky electrical problem. The dynamo product the Thomas buses use what's called the multiplex wiring. It's just a little bit more complicated than my competitors. It's better. They use what's called smart switches, but that can cause a lot more problems on the service side of it, which just makes it confusing for their mechanics. So it's kind of the lifeblood. Devin is the day-to-day. He touches everybody. He's always in great parts. But without a service department repairing and supporting the product that's out there, we just couldn't exist.
We learned so much about Midwest Bus Sales and all of the positions that make up this organization. What's one thing that students should remember about Midwest Bus Sales?
The biggest thing is that from top to bottom, our organization, people care. Even the corporation, and what I'm getting to know about this industry is that we build a better bus than the competitors do. Safer. There's a lot of things from. If you look at our windshields, the size of our windshield, there aren't really blind spots. There's an additional window right next to the steps that our competitors don't offer. Some of the drivers look at that and say, oh man, the sun gets in my eyes sometimes. I'll be advisors. But it's a safer product. There's a lot of safety features, and sometimes the drivers don't love those. But there's a reason that we're there. There's a reason that we're safer. So we build a better bus on the Thomas side, and West side we care about. We just want to make sure it's a product that we can all stand by. We're talking about integrity and full mechanics and lead backs. No sense in fixing it, we're going to do it halfway.
And if schools or students want to learn more about Midwest Bus Sales, who should they reach out to?
Reach out to us here at the location. We have a website, midwestbussales.com. There's plenty of good information. Midwest is a company. We operate in 5 states. We're in Illinois. We are here in Colorado. We also operate in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. We are the biggest buyer of Thomas buses in the country. So as a group, we know what we do. We do a good job.
Thank you so much.